So, down at Wollongong Beach once again. I'm going to read EZRA chapter 6 from the NIV Bible. It's entitled The Decree of Darius. King Darius then issued an order, and then they searched in the archives stored in the treasury at Babylon. A scroll was found in the citadel of Ecbatana in the province of Medina. And this was written on it. Media. Memorandum. In the first year of King Cyrus, the king issued a decree concerning the temple of God in Jerusalem. Let the temple be rebuilt as a place to present sacrifices, and let its foundations be laid. It is to be 60 cubits high and 60 cubits wide, with 3 courses of large stones and 1 of timbers. The costs are to be paid by the royal treasury. Also the gold and silver articles of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar took from the temple in Jerusalem and brought to Babylon, are to be returned to their places. In the temple in Jerusalem, they are to be deposited in the house of God. Now then, Tattenai, governor of Trans-Euphrates, and Setar-Bozenai, and you other officials of that province, stay away from there. Do not interfere with the work on this temple of God. Let the governor of the laws and the Jewish elders rebuild this house of God on this site. Moreover, I hereby decree that you are to do for these elders of the Jews in the construction of this house of God. Their expenses are to be fully paid out of the royal treasury from the revenues of Trans-Euphrates, so that the work will not stop. Whatever is needed, young bulls, rams, male lambs for burnt offerings to the God of heaven, wheat, salt, wine, olive oil, as requested by the priests in Jerusalem, must be given them daily without fail, so that they may offer sacrifices pleasing to the God of heaven and pray for the well-being of the king and his sons. Furthermore, I decree that if anyone defiles this edict, a beam is to be pulled from their house, and they are to be impaled on it, and for this crime their house is to be made a pile of rubble. May God, who has caused his name to dwell there, overthrow any king or people who lifts a hand to change this decree or to destroy this temple in Jerusalem. I, Darius, have decreed it. Let it be carried out with diligence, completion and dedication of the temple. Then, because of the decree King Darius had sent, Tattenai, governor of Trans-Euphrates, and Setar-Bozenai and their associates carried out with diligence. So the elders of the Jews continued to build and prosper under the preaching of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah, a descendant of Iddo, they finished building the temple according to the command of God of Israel and the decrees of Cyrus, Darius, and Xerxes, kings of Persia. The temple was completed on the third day of the month of Adar in the 6th year of the reign of Darius. Then the people of Israel, the priests, the Levites, and the rest of their exiles celebrated the dedication of the house of God with joy. For the dedication of this house of God, they offered 100 bulls, 200 rams, 400 male lambs, and as a sin offering for all Israel, 12 male goats, one for each of the tribes of Israel. And they installed the priests in their divisions and the Levites in their groups for the service of God at Jerusalem, according to what is written in the book of Moses. The Passover. On the 14th day of the first month, the exiles celebrated the Passover. The priests and Levites had purified themselves and were ceremonially clean. The Levites slaughtered the Passover lamb for all the exiles, for their relatives and the priests, and for themselves. For the Israelites who had returned from the exile ate it, together with all who had separated themselves from the unclean practices of their Gentile neighbours, in order to seek the Lord, the God of Israel. For 7 days they celebrated with joy the festival of unleavened bread, because the Lord had filled them with joy by changing the attitude of the king of Assyria, so that he assisted them in the work of the house of God, the house of Israel. So that was Ezra chapter 6, verses 1 through to 22. And I'm down here, that was from the NIV Bible. And I'm down here at Wollongong Beach. Let's run on dusk. Really, really nice. And there's the moon. Yeah, really nice. And 5 islands out that way, and the Port Campbell Steelworks down south. Really cool.